Heraldry. It's one of the most fun and engaging portions of Space Marine 2. In this video today, I'm going to showcase all of the heraldry that was displayed in the community contest that I ran just last week. So what you'll be seeing are a lot of custom chapters, but also some things that already exist, like the Alpha Legion. You can go ahead and quickly navigate to any one of those heraldries that interest you the most using the chapters in the timeline below. Everyone that I'm showcasing pretty much made it to the quarter, semifinals, or even the actual grand winner of the contest that we held. Basically how we did it was people submitted all of their heraldry, and then we voted on it as a stream to see which ones went across in like a single round elimination. I'll be redoing this again when the Dark Angels cool DLC chapter pack comes out. That way to give people more visual options to vary up how they do this contest. But again, you can just simply jump ahead. This is just a really cool showcase. What I'll be doing too is showing how they submitted their characters, what the armor is, as well as the color options and what have you, and maybe just kind of giving a quick little showcase in the armory as well as right outside of it so you can see what it actually looks like in the game. But if you are heading out, don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe if this video ends up helping you. Also, too, you can go ahead and check me out on Twitch, where I stream this game and plenty of other ones every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. You find a link to that below. But let's get started here on the Community Heraldry Contest winners in Space Marine 2. Starting us off, we have the Bloody Jaguars for our first armor piece here. And you can see this is one of the very few times that I actually really like a good Retributor armor scheme here. We're going to go over this one in a little bit more detail. But a really awesome showing. This one went, I think, all the way to the finals or semifinals. But the big focus here is on Retributor armor, followed by Nuln Oil. Or this is Corpus Black, but Nuln Oil is going to be our secondary for the majority of this. And it's what we're going to see in a lot of these builds, is using Nuln Oil to bring a lot of visual diversity out with that flat black. I really like how that looks, the matte color of it versus all of the reflectiveness of especially a Retributor armor here. And you can see, and I'll pop out of this screen real quick so you can see what it looks like in the game. But for the most part, it's just pretty much just using Nuln Oil or Retributor armor where you can, like the logo, for example, here's Retributor armor using the Iron Hounds icon, and then just having some fun. This is created this one-to-one with whatever the applicant submitted for their application for the contest here. So let's take a look at this actually in the game world. You can see a little bit different on it, and it does. It's when you're looking at things in that editor, it can kind of really distort how stuff looks. But once you really kind of get it out in the open and see it through some different lights, you can see just how good that Retributor armor looks. In the actual editing screen, it looks terrible, right? It looks like a very flat color. Like you look at the backpack right there, it looks really just not so awesome. But as we kind of bring it out into the light, it has a much better look and representation. So this is the Bloody Jaguars, or the Blood Jaguars, that were created. Let's jump into another one of the big contenders that actually went up against the Blood Jaguars in the quarterfinals. Next up, we have the Silver Templars. This is a real simple look, and there are a lot of different ways you can probably see this kind of brought to life in this game, but I really like how clean this one looks. We're using a lot of lead belcher here, a lot of Averland Sunset, and then some black intermixed to create a really solid look. I'm not a huge fan of that helmet. I'm recreating, again, what was submitted for the contest. It's just not a helmet I really enjoy. I like the other one, but I think that for this scheme, it really works, right? To kind of create that really nice Stormhost silver on the lead belcher. Lead belcher here being the primary color, with Corvus Black for our additional accents. Actually, I think this is supposed to be lead belcher as well. Stormhost silver, yeah, now that I look at it. And for everything else, you have, Golden Griffin on the chest piece, but Averland Sunset on those shoulder pads to create a nice, real stark contrast, which is really, really cool. One thing I really, really like about this, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I zoom in? Nope, that's about as much as I can zoom. Aha. I like that. That's a really cool way to do that knee decal. To just, I mean, yeah, it's not the 6th chapter or whatever. Unfortunately, that Legion number there is what is there as well, right? The 13th Legion. But still, that's a really cool way to pull a lot of visual diversity out of something. And we've gone over that too, right? When we talk about the knee pads, trying to mask out certain parts of the knee pad. Like in the previous one, that red sword, it was taken out by matching it to the background of the knee pad. And with this emblem, that's what we have right here. But when you mask out the up arrow and you add a black background and change the color of text, you get that. And it looks really good. And I like too going with this knee pad too, I'm sorry, that leg piece too, to kind of really help accent the look of that knee pad. It looks just, it's a really sharp scheme that I think really comes to life here, especially as you bring it out and into the real world and you see it in all of its kind of moving parts here. I love that black and that yellow. It looks really nice, really, really good. It pays proper homage too, right? To the Sons of Dorn. It's just a real nice, good look. And I think too, like when you fall into these shadowed locations and you can see like the cabling of the armor kind of like subsides and you see all that like really nice, strong silver, it looks really solid, which is weird because Leadbelcher is not this bright on tabletop. But either way, this is the Silver Templars. Next up, we have the Monotoners. And this is a really simple one. It's just simply Administratum Gray with gold and then Nuln Oil. It's a real straightforward look. And again, it comes off pretty clean. These guys went pretty far in the contest here. And it's a really sharp look here. He did the highest level of tactical greaves, which I don't have, which give really nice, cool, like gold crusting around both of these, which would have really brought this together too. And the chainmail war gear, but I don't have that here. But you can see it looks really nice, really clean, very simple. And there's no like special anything. It's just exactly those colors that I mentioned with the Nuln Oil on the field in the actual shoulder pad. But pretty much just set your primary to Administratum Gray and set the other one to just the color gold, not like Golden Griffin or anything like that. And you've got a pretty solid scheme that just looks very clean and really solid. And again, I really like Nuln Oil to combat that gloss, right? You get that really cool matte black that looks just very sharp with the entirety of this color scheme. The first place winner of the contest was actually this one, the Angels in Rime. It's a very simple one, but it looks very clean and particularly good. It's a nice use of Runefang blue with Eshin gray and white accents. And it really comes together very, very well. It has a lot of really kind of subtle colors versus a lot of the louder and punchier colors that you can typically see with a lot of yellows or blues or reds or whatever it is. Everything's very muted, as it were. And it comes across just very well. Kind of, it almost looks very like grimdark if you're into the actual painting of 40k. So we have Runefang Steel as our primary, and our secondary is Corax White. And then for the helmet, it's just a follow-up of White Scar and Corax White. And then on the shoulder pads, it's Eshin Gray for the field, and then white for everything else. We've got Blood Angels here. You could simply go with any other emblem to really kind of make this work for you and how you want to display it. What's cool too is the legs. So if we jump into the preview here, you can see that the legs have Eshin Gray at the top of the thigh, and then as we go down, you can see that they come into that Runefang Steel for the actual leg portion with an outlining of white. And a nice cool touch with the with the knee pads here is to go with those stripes of Eshin Gray and white to kind of create that visual line down the entire model. Looks really, really good here. Very simple, very clean, and no wonder why it won number one. Let's take a look here as we kind of walk around, see it in all sorts of light, all sorts of glory. And again, you really have to get, I wish that the Armory editor would allow you to take a look at these suits in different light to get a sense for how they really look in the game, right? Like this looks and feels, don't look at me like that, Jesus. This looks and feels so much better than just simply being washed out color-wise in the actual Armory. Right, you can see like a lot more visual diversity, and it really helps to see like a lot of the other colors come to life, like the browns on the belt, stuff like that. But Angels in Rime was the winner of this contest, and it is a great portrayal, especially if you're doing the assault. Another simple one, but real effective one, is the Blood Angels Death Company. For the most part, we're using Nuln Oil across the entirety of this model with some splashing of Mephiston Red and Ushabti Bone. The Aquila is going to be a nice, just simple white with everything else having that Ushabti Bone look to it. It does differ, right, from the, like if you look at the gauntlet right there, that looks like white, or the knee pad looks like white, it is all Ushabti Bone. So let's take a looking at this guy here. You can see we're using a Scorched bone with even just the little angry eyebrows on the helmet. And we're using Nuln Oil to get that nice flat look. It's so surprising how well Nuln Oil looks compared to Abaddon Black or even Iron Hands, which is also a pretty metallic black, which is different to what it is in the actual tabletop. But we come down over here to the emblem on the shoulder pad. We're using Mephiston Red, then again Ushabti Bone, which just looks really good. It's a real great way to kind of bring that, make that Blood Angels logo look a little bit more original and not just simply a crisp white on what would otherwise be like a pretty beat up looking character. And on the other shoulder pad, we have just a simple red skull. This is, of course, the Death Company, so skulls and red. It is kind of the theme. Now, another big thing are X's. That's a big portion of that kind of overall color scheme. So we go with the Damnos campaign badge, pull it off, remove the background by making it transparent right here, and then going with Ushabti color and then Mephiston Red to give us a real good look for that knee pad. But just I think it's a really awesome look because it's just 100% what the model has going on it. So overall, a great look, especially if you're playing Assault, right? It's a great look for Ushabti for the Assault, looking absolutely stunning in the real world here. Real world, like, you know, it actually exists. Like a true terror, right? Like a battle brother, I see Horus. Like, oh, it's me, man. You can see here, looking really good, looking really simple. This went really far in the competition. I think it won out 4 times in all of the head-to-heads that it had. And it just kind of goes to show you that this is a very, very, very simple scheme. It's just the color black with Ushabti Bone sprinkled on it here and there. And that Nuln Oil can just give you such a good standout look, especially, you know, if you're used to painting the models. It gives you that real similar look to the actual models that you're painting after you give them a little medium or a little varnish, whichever one you're going to go with. But looks great overall. There is your Death Company. Another of the Sons of Dorn, we have the Blood Fist Templars, a white and black scheme with some splashing of Wild Rider Red. And you guessed it, that black is going to be Nuln Oil again. But some really cool decisions here for everything across the board, especially that singular like red fist, kind of reminiscent to the Crimson Fists. But these are the Blood Fist Templars here as we go all the way around and take a look at this scheme. Let's take a look at our colors. So helmet is, of course, just simply that white color yet again. And we have pretty much everything again. It's just that Nuln Oil with the Corax Rider, the white scar. And we have the Black Templar logo over here on one shoulder pad. And on the other, on one shoulder pad. On the other pauldron, we have the Veteran Honor icon with white, and then Wild Rider Red. All the red is Wild Rider Red. Make it a little bit more punchy, jumps in with stuff. That gauntlet is, of course, Wild Rider Red as well to make it overall fit into this. I'm sorry, it's the right gauntlet because you're right-handed apparently. And as we go down to the knees, we went with transparent for the background on them, right? So we have a nice field for that. For the Black Templars logo is in Wild Rider's Red, but it is a transparent actual logo. And the field on this is transparent with the actual logo being, it's supposed to be Wild Rider Red. There we go. I was wondering why that looks so dim. And the legs are bifurcated by the white scar and the Nuln Oil as well. Really nice, cool, clean color scheme as well. Really good overall. Let's take a look at it in the real world, as you say, as one does not really say in a game. Pretty much everything that won that had black in it used Nuln Oil because it just has such, I mean, for a matte color, it just provides so much depth. And I'm going to keep saying it throughout the entirety of the video. I think we got like 2 more colors or 2 more schemes that use that Nuln Oil, just to kind of make sure you can get those knee pads in there. It's a real good color scheme, really nice and poppy. There's something simple too about white and black. It's just a thing, right? You know, the Sons of Dorn, they always kind of float to the top every time here, but that's your Bloody Fist Templars. Sticking with our last assault scheme here, we have the Scorched Lords. Now, the gentleman who submitted this was saying that it was modeled after a firefighter suit because he himself is a firefighter, and it is a pretty awesome one here. This one went quite the distance in the tournament, making it to, I believe, the quarterfinals before getting smashed out and coming into the semifinals. My voice changed here because I've recorded this video on 2 separate days, and allergies just suck. So the main thing here that we're going to be using is going to be Zemesi Desert Black and then Fulgurite Copper to mimic the same color of Zemesi Desert in places that we cannot grab it. So you can see that we've got that on the legs down here. We've got that black with the Fulgurite Copper, and then we're going to have Zemesi Desert throughout the rest of the pieces here, inverting it onto the shoulders, which are going to have Zemesi Desert in the front with Corvus Black to give us a real nice crisp look. And again, that helmet, reminiscent of a firefighter helmet with that red and the white and gold on this. And I went with Zemesi Desert, Fulgurite Copper on the backpack as well to mimic that same color scheme as best we could. Let's hash it copper. That one should be Fulgurite Copper. There we go. That just kind of keeps that color scheme going. So here is the Scorched Lords. Let's take a look at what this looks like in the actual game world, in the real world, as I like to say. And it's pretty nice. I think this is probably the first Zemesi Desert scheme that I've seen that looks really good. It looks really sharp here. It's a color I don't even use in tabletop really, unless I'm painting some sort of tabard or cloak or banner, and it turned out to be a real clean color scheme here. They're kind of reminiscent of that dirty yellow that you typically get on a firefighter's I almost said tunic, but the coat. I don't know. I'm not a firefighter. I live in Southern California, but I'm surrounded by both fires and firefighters, and you think I would know this, but clearly I don't. But again, the Scorched Lords here. Let's jump into our final 3 or so schemes. Shifting back over to some tactical, we have the Tomb Lords, not to be confused with the Tome Lords. And we have a character that is going to be using the rare quadrants here, where we've got the 4 quadrant split across the armor. And this is going to be a use of Ushabti Bone and Eshin Grey for those quadrants, with a follow-up of either Iron Warriors or the color scheme of, well, I have to take a look at it, I can't remember the name of it right now, Wraithbone. So you can see that this is pretty much the split: Ushabti Bone, Eshin Grey, and then Wraithbone. And then for the actual symbol, we have the Tome Keepers for the symbol with blue and yellow to have that as a nice stark contrast on that shoulder piece there. And then everything else that has like any kind of like cool lining or anything like that would be something like Iron Warriors to again give you that. I think it's mainly because right here you can't really go with an Eshin Grey, I think it was. Yeah, I don't think there's an Eshin Grey that you can choose for the rim job over there. I know I said what I said on that shoulder pad, so we're using Iron Warriors to get that as best we can. But a very simple scheme, but another one that really kind of pops out here. And it's nice to see a pretty muted color palette with this. This isn't a pretty crazy one. There's not a lot of wild colors. It's just simply varying like taupes and grays, and it really turns out to be quite nice. And it's one of the very few times that it's like when you use the default head brush for tactical that is white and red, it works really well with this scheme that just kind of jumps really well alongside everything. But it just looks really, really sharp here. This one didn't win in the semifinals the quarterfinals, unfortunately. But it was a real clean one that I think would have probably been made better when we start to get stuff like different eye lenses. Like having blue lenses on this would have been really cool to see to help it match that chapter icon on the shoulder badge. But this is the Tomb Lords, another real great representation of the community contest. Favorite amongst traders is the Alpha Legion, and this is done as a sort of Alpha Legion Loyalist using Sotek Green, Necron Compound, and really that's it. I mean, there's a little splash here of some black on those knee decals, but that's really it here, and a stark green for the chapter emblem. But another real simple color scheme that really comes together very well in the game. Taking a look at it again, like I said, it's just simply Sotek Green and Necron Compound, and then on that one shoulder pad we have Abaddon Black for the emblem. A nice touch here is using the newer, what do I want to call these, emblems on decals on the knee pads to just kind of give that nice breakup visually on the knees with the stark shiny, not stark, but the very shiny black that the new 4.1 patch has done to the decals. Like now, whenever you choose black for the decal, it's super, super glossy and shiny, and it kind of helps break up that visual line from the hip all the way down to the shoe. It's a boot, not a shoe. It's a Space Marine, right? Space Marines don't walk around clippity-clopping with their shoes on. But we can, again, see an Alpha Legion. Very simple here, but when we bring it into the actual game, Sotek Green is one of those ones that it looks very different, and it's hard to say like it's a green, but if you've ever painted power swords, you know that you use Sotek Green quite a bit in trying to layer up the different blues in your power sword. Sotek Green, of course, being one that's very prominent in anyone who's painted lizardmen in the tabletop. And it does give us a pretty cool armor here. Looks great in the actual game. You can see how bright Sotek Green actually can be when you're not in the actual armory or armor editing panels to get a good sense of how this looks in the game. But that is your Alpha Legion Loyalist from the Community Contest. Closing us out, we have the Immaterium Paladins, the second place runner-up in the Community Contest. And this is probably the simplest scheme on the entire list. It is just simply Iron Hand Steel mixed in with bronze. That's it. There's nothing else to be done here aside from a knee decal that uses the Templar symbol. But because this gentleman used the Bulwark, he didn't really have to have any color, any badges on, anything like that. And a lot of it is really just kind of comes to life with that kind of grayer, flatter black of Iron Hand Steel and the very red metallic of bronze, right? I guess copper is more red than bronze, but still, it just looks really solid. And this thing went through so many rounds, just going higher and higher and higher. Again, that's all it is simply Iron Hand Steel and just flat bronze. And the only difference here is on that knee decal with Black Templars, inverting that into an Abaddon Black and to a Wild Rider Red. And bring it into the game itself. He said he did use some Retributor armor on this as well, but I just think it came out. I just really like how they did Iron Hand Steel here. Iron Hand Steel is typically used as a base coat in the tabletop when you're painting. So it just has a real nice look that's different than Abaddon Black, obviously, right? It doesn't have that high gloss of Abaddon Black, but it doesn't have the matte of Nuln Oil. And it really gives you a good punch when you put these two colors together. I think it just, oh, okay, I'm going to have strobe light on that guy's eyeball going on. It turned out just super, super well. And going forward, when we do more of these community contests, what I'll be telling people is when you submit your option for your chapter, you can only submit one character to display it on. So what we'll do is every time we do these videos that kind of recap these community contests, I'll have it so that we can break them up by individual classes. Like, hey, here's some really cool tactical heraldries, or here's some really cool heavy heraldries, whatever it is, to help people get some specific heraldries for some specific classes. Because some of these, they look different, right? Like if I were to maybe put this on a character that didn't have all this white over there on that shoulder pad, or all this white on this shoulder pad, and had less tabard on here, that it's going to create a different visual look, obviously. So if I were to put this on maybe the Vanguard, it might not be as satisfying. So I think that'll be a really cool way to help you guys determine which ones you want to use in your playthroughs. And even bring this guy into the dark, it looks really, really, really cool. But this is the Immaterium Paladins. And at that brings our video here to a close. So if you have any, heraldry submissions you'd like to make, you can find a link to my Discord in the comment section. In the description below. You can jump on a board and get involved in a community that is doing operations all the time. I'll be doing more of these contests as the DLC and other stuff kind of unfolds for us. I'm waiting for the next Dark Angels pack to do another one of these to see people hit this stuff in a lot of different angles. The winner got a $50 Steam gift card, and the runner-up got a $25 Steam gift card. So the gentleman who created the Immaterium Paladins was our second place, and the Angels and Rime, the person who was on the thumbnail, won first place. Gentleman who won the second place wanted it as a Xbox gift card instead, so I'm willing to kind of make it work for whatever platform you're predominantly playing on. But if you have any really cool suggestions for your own heraldry, go ahead and let it be known in the comment section below, or jump over into our Discord and share it. Show off what your drip is for the Emperor. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one, and take care.